All right, so today we're going to be doing section 18 and 17, and what we're going to be talking about today is going to be a vertex and how to do a parabola. So let's get this thing set up. Does anybody know what a parabola looks like?
Isn't it like a U shape and like a
We have a U shape going like this, or it can go like this. And can anybody tell me the difference between the two? As far as the directions, how do you know whether it opens up downward or opens up upward? Positive and negative. So what you do is you want to look at the equation here, and we notice that the first term in this equation is what? It's positive. This will represent a positive direction, and this will represent a what? A negative. So you mentioned again, then we're going to talk about the vertex. Where is the vertex located? You already said it. Max and min, right? Vertex is going to be the changing point of this graph. Because the location of the vertex is up top, we consider this to be a maximum. And the location of this one will be considered to be a minimum. So there are going to be several steps that we're going to be doing in this section on our calculators to help us find out the vertex. So let's begin with that. So everybody take out their calculator, and we're going to hit y equals. Once you hit y equals, type in this equation.
Oh, shoot.
So, okay.
Now make sure I hit that over. Two.
Good. Good. You got the equation in there? Good. All right. So the next thing we're going to hit is going to hit second and then trace. And notice what second trace has listed. Which one you think we're going to choose from? Second trace. And we're going to choose what number you think. There's only two we can choose from, right?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. And I told you before, if you look at the equation, we already know it's going to be a positive. So we're going to be choosing the minimum one, which is going to be 3. Another way to look at it also too is I want you to hit zoom 6. So just in case you might forget, look at zoom 6 and actually shows you what the graph looks like, and then you can easily choose that it's going to be a minimum. Make sense? All right, so go back and do it now. Second trace and minimum, and hit number 3 for me. And then look, what does it say in the top in the bottom left-hand corner?
F equals 0.
What wording? Left bound. So let's talk about a little bit of what this left bound means. So this is what our parabola looks like, correct? We already know our vertex is going to be here. So basically what I'm trying to say is, what side of this parabola is going to be our left side? So there's your little blinking little cursor, right? I want you to take that cursor and slide it over to anywhere on this left side here. I don't care where you get it at, just make sure it's on the left side of the vertex.
How do you slide it? Hit the arrow.
Once you do that, I want you to hit enter.
It's not moving.
You hit the right and left ones.
Okay, so move to
Yeah, so it's already on the left side. Hit the enter button for me.
Now say right bound.
Right. Then it's going to say right bound. So guess where we got to go now? Somewhere over this side. And then it said, yeah, then hit enter once you get to the right side. Then it says what? Yes. I want you to just bypass that and just hit enter. And it should give you a vertex. Sometimes it gives you a weird number, but we're going to do some rounding per se with it. So there's a couple things I want to explain with this. The vertex should be a ordered pair, which our x is going to be what? 1, because if you have 0.9, it shows what, 0.9999. Just go ahead and just round that to what? 1. The second part in the y, these calculators have something like this. They'll have maybe 1.25 e to the negative 13th power, negative 12th power, negative something like that to the on that case. You have a negative 9 in your case. I want you to just pretend anytime you see this e to the part, I want you to just pretend this is 0. Because actually what we're doing is, this is like scientific notation, and negative 13, that means I move this decimal how many times to the left? 13. If I do that 13 times and then put a 0, that's actually saying what? 0. I put my decimal here, filling all these zeros here. It's just actually going to round to 0 anyway. So what I'm trying to say in your notes, anytime you see e to the negative something, just say it's 0. So that's our first step of finding the vertex. Is there any questions, concerns? Yes, ma'am. I think I can, yeah. Any other questions or concerns you might have?
I would say negative 9, so you don't want us to put negative 9?
Yeah, it's going to give you different numbers. It'll say negative 9 to now, but next time it'll probably say negative 10 or negative 11. Whatever it says that e to the negative something, it doesn't matter what number it is, it's always going to be 0.
Okay.
So I want you just to say that it's going to be 0. Yeah, so, I'm with it. Does that make sense? Because you're going to do other problems where it's going to say e to the 13th or e to the 14th or something. Just say it's 0. Okay. I don't know why the calculator doesn't present it to be 0 at all times. They just put that e to there. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, on hers she said that she had 1.999. I mean. Yeah,
yours say 1 point. So just still round that one.
We chose hers. Hers may have been in a different spot over here. The cursor. Right. That's why I got that one.
Right, but it's all going to be basically the same thing. Okay, yeah.
Gotcha.
Does it make sense for everybody? We good? Okay. So let's throw in the vertex to be 1 and 0. Let me see your own. Oh, it actually says negative 9. I'm sorry. I thought it said E. Okay, I thought it said E.
What is this?
Keep them notes as far as with the E there with it, because you'll get to a problem where you has that. I guess I introduced it too early, but that one actually does say negative 9. I looked on the calculator and I thought it said an E there. I think the equal sign threw me off. Yes, ma'am.
Is this a Y here?
Yeah, that's why. That's why I thought that was an E. Yeah, it's actually Y equals negative 9.
Okay, because it do. I see what you're saying.
It does look like an E, right? Yeah. So that's why I thought it was there. So.
Y equals -9. Okay.
Is everybody okay now? I'm with it. Okay. So we already answered this question already. Does it open upward or downward?
Upward.
Upward, right? Now we're going to talk about the x-intercept. What does x-intercept mean? Hits on the graph. Look at your graph, hit zoom 6, or if you should already have it up there. How many times does it cross the x-axis?
2.
So how many answers should we have here?
2.
2. We just need to figure out where those exactly locations are. Does that make sense for everybody?
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do now. So what we're going to do is go back and hit y equals from me. And for y2, don't erase the equation. Out of y1, just go down to y2, and I want you to just put 0. Then I want you to push your cursor all the way to the left to where that little line is. It's like a dashed line. And just hit enter one time. And what happened to that line?
It got wider.
It got thicker. The reason for that is I want you to see it as it forms in our calculator. I want you to see that thick line when we see it. Does that make sense?
I'll see it.
So hit zoom 6 now.
You hit zoom 6. Okay, you went y equals to hit 0.
And we're going to make this second line over here thick.
Oh, hold on.
It makes it real thick for you. Now hit zoom 6. You should see both lines form.
Go there.
The first one
Back over to this one. And then you hit
and then thick one. That makes sense?
different line. And then after it become thick, you said hit zoom 6.
Yeah, hit zoom 6.
And then you hit zoom 6.
And you should see two lines form. This one and then the one that goes across that way on the x-axis. Zoom 6 now.
This is what we're finding the x zoom 6.
Correct. And you should see a thick line that goes across there. Did you get it, Brandy?
No. I hit something funky in my stuff.
That's right.
How it is?
So we hit zoom 6. And this is your first one, and then when it went across real fast.
Oh.
It kind of went fast, that's probably when it's seeing it. So this is what happened with the graphs. Here's your first one, and then it went just like that, right across. It makes sense to everybody? So what we're trying to find again is where it meets here, or intersects here, and where it intersects here. And we're gonna let our calculator find it. I want you to go search for it. I want you to calculate it to actually pinpoint it for you and zoom in right into that area. Make sense? So what we're gonna do is hit second trace. And this time I want you to tell me, what do you think the number is going to be this time? If we're trying to find the what again?
The intersection.
Intersection, right? 5, because that says intersection. So hit 5 for me. And then I want you to take your cursor. I don't know where everybody's cursor is, but I want you to take your cursor and move it to where it meets at over here to the left first. Just kind of slide it over there to where it meets at. Doesn't have to be on it, just somewhere near it. Then I want you to hit enter 3 times. And it should give you a ordered pair of -2, 0. Any questions? So I'll give you a minute to kind of write down, but the same process needs to be happen to go over here. You have to do it all over again. Second trace 5 and then slide it over to the what?
Right side.
Right side. And then hit enter how many times? Then hit 3 times.
So after zoom, so we do enter to get the thick line. Then we do zoom 5. And then from zoom 5, we did second trace again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, second trace. And then we hit enter 3 times. Oh, first we got to move that thing to the left or right. Move cursor to left and right.
You good? Okay.
I mean, I'm confused because I didn't know you were drawing down too long, but yeah, I got it. I'm following you.
You're writing down the second trace and steps and stuff,
No.
please.
Aren't you gonna go back over it with me?
That's gonna be a long time though. Well, at least you have something. I need you to at least work on it though.
Okay. 'Cause,
Too.
I mean, the rest of the beginning is. I don't even know what y'all are doing. I mean, I know what you're telling me to do, but I don't even know how to. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Is everybody okay?
Yes.
Okay. So did everybody go to this side this time?
Yeah.
And what was this point?
4, 0. We got to go down first and then go. How do we get to that? Okay.
Just push to the right
Just go to the right.
and just kind of take your time going over to that side. When you're typing this in, make sure you put a comma in between.
Did you get 3 0 for the other one?
4, 0.
A comma in between each ordered pair so you know it's separated. So you have to hit second trace again. You're searching for it. Let the calculator do it for you. Second trace, and then which number? 5. Now let's take it over there. Then hit enter 3 times. And that's how they got 4 and 0. So as we go down and get further to the end of this problem, it gets easier. Y'all believe me? You guess? All right. So what do you notice about the x-intercept? Where is the 0 located? In the y side, right? So if we're doing the y-intercept, guess where the 0 is going to be located?
On the X side.
In the x one. So we're automatically going to go ahead and put 0 here. It's just understanding what this number is. And if you remember back in 050 where the b is located, the b was always our y-intercept, which is always the last number in the equation. What is the last number in this equation? So when you're trying to find the y-intercept, it's always going to be the last number in the equation. Make sense? And this last part here is just we're choosing, you already have what the picture looks like on our calculators, correct? So we just choose which one it actually looks like. We can eliminate C and D because it goes this way. But it's going to be A because it's more further to the right a little bit.
The whole section like this.
Yes, it is. Does anybody have any questions you think of from right now, from what we talked about? Trying to recap what we did. The vertex, the first thing we did, we need to find out if this is going to be a max or a minimum. Once we determine that, we hit second trace and what number? If it's a min, we hit 3. If it's a max, we hit 4. The first thing it's going to ask for is about left bound and right bound. So you take the little blinking cursor, go to the left side, go to the right side, bypass the guess part, and then it shoots it right to the center of it, which is the vertex. Make sense? The y-intercept, the only thing I need you to remember is the y2 needs to be set equal to 0. It's your choice to make the line thicker. You don't have to. You're not going to get the problem wrong or right. The thickness of the line is just to make sure you actually see what is actually, you see the line going on the x-intercept. The x-axis. And with that, the y-intercept, all you have to look for is the what number in the last number in the equation. And then the last part of here will just choose which one it looks like. Make sense? All right. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to shift a little bit to 17, and I'm going to show you how 17 looks similar to what we just did in 18. And then we're going to do some practice, okay? Actually, 17, you do pretty much half of this work. I just wanted to go ahead and show you all of it up front first.
Oh, that's not that many questions. That was a whole lot of questions.
I can add more, though.
No.
Okay. Because y'all act like, y'all seem like you need more practice with it, so.
8 questions.
Oh, 8
That
questions.
question
All
is
right.
good.
It's the 20-something.
Yeah.
30.
So, this is section 17. If you notice any directions, what did it ask for? It's going to say sketch a graph of the quadratic function and the axis symmetry. State the what?
Vertex.
Guess what we already know how to do? We know how to do the vertex. So what we're going to do is put this equation in to our y equals. Make sure you get rid of that 0. We don't need that 0 on for this one.
Get rid of the thick lines, do you?
Yeah, you don't need that thick line either. So just hit clear and it should go away. Once you get your equation in, I want you to hit zoom 0 to tell me what the direction of it looks like. By just looking at it though, who can guess what the direction is going to look like?
You said this.
Positive is supposed to be open upward, right? Just to make sure, we're going to hit zoom 6.
Yeah, it's upward.
Looks like this, right? So our second trace, what number should we choose now?
4.
And that's and the 4 says
3.
it should be 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I know. So go ahead and do the left bound and right bound. Don't hit enter 3 times. That's when we do the x-intercept. Go to left bound and then go to the right bound of it.
Okay.
So here the y equals, do zoom 6. Zoom 6, yeah. Okay. And then I hit second trace, the minimum. And then go to the left side of it. Good. And then go to the right side of it. And make sure you hit enter after you go to that side. Go to the left side. Hit enter.
Time.
No.
Oh, enter.
And then once you hit enter, go to the right side now. And then hit enter.
Okay.
And then the guess I told you to bypass that by just hitting enter. So zoom 6. All right, so hit second trace, number 3. So go to the left side of it, go a little bit more further over, good. Enter. Now go to the right bound and hit enter. And then bypass the guess. Now, do y'all see what I'm talking about now as far as the little E thing now? So when I see, the moment you see the E thing, I told you to put what? 0. And what was the Y? 5. Any questions about the vertex?
No.
All right, so let's go ahead and let me show you how to graph this. So I'm going to enlarge it so you can see it. So you see this little parabola tool? So we're going to click this little parabola tool here. And we're actually going to go to the, you can just lay it right there. We're actually going to plot our first point, which is going to be the vertex. So 0, 5. Now notice here, we don't know, I don't know, how big it's supposed to be, how narrow or wide it's supposed to be. You can see you can make this really wide or you can make it really thin with it. I need a second point. Where do we always go to get points from? Second what? Second graph. Second graph, and to somebody shout out, not a big point, but
They all be cut off.
1,
0, 5. You got 0, 5.
0 and 5.
1, 6.
1 and 6.
1 and 6. Everybody see that? It doesn't matter which one you do. We just need a second one to know how big or small to make the parabola. So 1, 6. Is everybody okay so far? The first one is the vertex. The second one is just a point to determine how big or small it's supposed to be, how wide or thick it needs to be. Now the problems here, before I cancel this out here, it also asks for axis of symmetry. I want you everybody to write that down. Axis of symmetry. All the axis of symmetry is going to be a dashed line. Does everybody know how to put the dashed line up here? Remember that from 050? You click this little thing for the dashed line. We need to draw a dashed line straight directly, a vertical line straight down the middle of it. And with it, any vertex you do is just a straight line down the middle of it. So we click this little dash, our line here. All right, so it's kind of hard to see, but the little yellow dash line is straight down the middle of it. Everybody see that?
And why do we do that?
This is called the axis of symmetry. So we hit that, we check our answer. And then when we start putting on our answers, we just go ahead and do like we're supposed to as far as the ordered pair first, which is the vertex. And then the axis of symmetry, what we need to do for this one here is acting for our equation. So our equation needs to always look like this. X is equal to whatever number is presented. To get this number, all you have to do is look at your vertex, and whatever the x is always going to be our vertex. So our x is actually going to be 0. Did everybody remember on 050 what makes a vertical line, what makes a horizontal line?
Yep, horizontal is always zero.
If we got an O,
Remember one letter, right?
yeah.
One letter. A y equals is horizontal. X equals is, that's why we have a vertical dash line, and that's why it's going to be x equals 0 for it. If you just put in 0, the computer, this program is not going to mark it right. You have to put x equals.
You have to put X equals.
You have to put x equals. So make sure you always do that with this problem, and that's going to be the whole section on this one. So basically, we did all we did for both of them is the vertex. The only thing was different was we did the axis of symmetry, which is just a dashed line down the middle. So if, just for instance, if this vertex was 5, this would be equals 5. And you just draw a straight line down the middle of it. Does anyone have any questions or concerns? And that's just the 2 sections. So remember, Monday is our first day of quarter. So make sure everybody's present on that day. But I would like for you to have done up to all the stuff you're supposed to have done already. Oh boy. And then this 17 and 18 section, and that's it by Monday. All right, so go ahead and get to work. If you have any questions, I'll come by. Make sure your notes are good, has a lot of good things, because when you go home tonight, you won't be able to understand it. So make sure if you need to clear something up, I will. All right.